Hi, this is Nanette Hosenfeld with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Sunday, August 2nd, 2020. Looking at fire potential impacts over the next few days, we will continue to see exceptionally hot and dry weather across the entire Great Basin. There is just a little bit of lingering high base moisture left, and so with that moisture in place, we could see some more very isolated storms across the Uinta Mountains today, and then tomorrow across the central Idaho Mountains and also across the Uinta Mountains. Tomorrow, we will see an area of southwesterly winds between 15 and 25 miles an hour across portions of southeastern Idaho. Over the past 24 hours, there's really not much in the way of precipitation. You can just see some really light precip across portions of eastern Utah and the central Idaho mountains. A couple lightning strikes with that, but nothing too impressive. Looking at fire activity across the Great Basin, we picked up a few new fires yesterday, and we do have some larger ongoing fires in the Great Basin. Over the past 7 days, there hasn't really been too much precipitation. You can see that the main focus of the precip has been across southeastern Utah. That's still kind of lingering from the monsoonal moisture we had in place about a week ago, and then also some storms that we've seen over the central Idaho mountains. If you look at the image on the right, which shows percent of normal, you can see that Nevada has been exceptionally dry, really far below normal across much of Nevada. The ERCs are quite impressive across much of the area. They're especially high across the southern part of the Great Basin, where typically at this point in the year we would be seeing a pretty good monsoon. That is not happening, and it's very abnormal. And so as a result, our ERCs are much higher than normal. Moving further north into central and northern Utah and Nevada, we also have some very high ERCs there as well. You can see some stations above the 90th and 97th percentile, and then moving up into Idaho, with the hot weather we've seen, we're starting to see ERCs creep up into that 70th percentile range. If we look at our ERC trends over the course of the summer, you can see GB3, which is in southwestern Idaho, has been trending pretty reliably below normal. However, with our recent hot weather, the ERCs are approaching normal, and I would expect that in the next couple of days we will surpass normal ERCs across the northern part of the Great Basin. Further south in GB33, you can see well above record-setting levels. The ERCs have been quite high across the southern part of the Great Basin for a few weeks, and you can see we're well into record territory at this point. 10-hour fuel moisture is also very low across the area. Almost the entire state of Nevada is in the 1 to 2% range. Also, western Utah and the Arizona Strip are in the really low fuel moisture range. So this, again, especially across the southern parts of the Great Basin, is really abnormal. So we'll be seeing abnormally active fire activity across the southern part of the area. Satellite this morning shows a really strong high pressure in place. This strong pressure ridge is what is bringing us the hot and dry conditions. Off the Pacific Northwest coast, there is a weather system that is moving in, and as that moves north across the Great Basin over the next few days, we'll see a little change in the weather. For today, again, you can see that high pressure in place across the Great Basin. Really dry air for almost the entire area. A little moisture still lingering, and that's what will bring us those higher terrain thunderstorms this afternoon. Looking at the day in more detail, you can see really low minimum relative humidity numbers forecast for this afternoon. A lot of single-digit relative humidities in the forecast, so quite low. Looking at winds, that's our image on the right. Generally light winds across the area, though we could see some breezy winds across portions of western Utah and far southwestern Utah and Nevada and into the Arizona Strip. The image on the left is showing our overnight recovery. I thought it would be interesting to look at our relative humidities tonight into tomorrow morning. So this is the maximum relative humidity going into tomorrow, and you can see a lot of areas across the southern part of the Great Basin will see maximum relative humidities less than 20%. So again, very, very poor overnight recoveries and incredibly dry. Moving into Monday, we keep that dry air in place. The pressure ridge starts to break down. Looking at Monday in more detail, you can see again super dry relative humidities across much of the area tomorrow. Single digit across basically the southern 2/3 of the Great Basin. So very dry, continuing with the dry conditions. We will start to see winds increase across parts of southern Idaho as that low pressure system moves to the north of the area. And you can see those areas in the orange on that map on the right. Looking at overnight relative humidity recovery Monday night into Tuesday, again, you can see very poor recovery across the southern half of the Great Basin. Again, a lot of that area remaining below 20% overnight. However, across the northern part of the Great Basin, we will see a bit of an improvement in the relative humidities, and you can see much better overnight recovery across the northern part of the area Monday night into Tuesday. As we move into Tuesday, we still see pretty dry air in place across the Great Basin. You can see that high pressure ridge is starting to break down as we see that weather system begin to move into the western coast of the United States. So looking at Tuesday in more detail, again, really dry across the area, keeping those single-digit relative humidities in place across the south. A little bit of improvement across the north, but really remaining dry across the south. And if we look at winds again, expecting some breezy winds across the far southern part of the Great Basin on Tuesday. Over the next 3 days, it's very dry, maybe just a hint of precipitation across some of the higher terrain, but incredibly dry across the area. As we move into Wednesday, we start to look at the potential for lightning, which of course is very concerning after a dry period. We have a high risk, as you can see from our forecast on the right, for portions of Idaho on Wednesday, as we start to see moisture move into the northern part of the Great Basin with a weather disturbance. As we move into Thursday, again, looking at some moisture across the northern part of the Great Basin. We'll have to kind of monitor this for the lightning threat across the northern part of the area. But it's quite notable how dry it will remain across the central and southern parts of the Great Basin on Thursday. With this weather system moving to the north on Thursday, we would also expect winds to start increasing across the larger area of the Great Basin. Moving into Friday, still remaining quite dry across the south, keeping moisture across the north. So we could see another day of showers and thunderstorms across the northern part of the Great Basin on Friday, as well as some gusty winds with that weather system. And then finally moving into Saturday, still similar picture with really dry conditions across the south, and then increased moisture and winds across the northern part of the Great Basin. Over the next 7 days, despite that weather system moving by to the north, really looking quite dry. This is very exceptional to see such dry conditions across the entire Great Basin this time of year. An 8 to 14-day outlook, it's not looking much better. The image on the right shows the probability of precipitation going into the middle of August, and it just looks so dry. Really unusual to be this dry this late into the year. As far as temperatures, looks like the forecast is calling for the potential for below normal temperatures across portions of the Great Basin. So that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Our information is on the screen, and you can also find us on Twitter. Thanks.